it's Brooke and welcome back to my channel. Okay, y'all, I am back again. Today, I'm really excited for this video because as you guys know, I am trying to get more content on my channel and just do better overall. And I've been wanting to do this video for a little bit. I'm really excited. So by the title, as you guys can tell, I'm going to be giving you guys my book recommendations. I love to read. I haven't been reading as much lately just because I've been super busy with like school and work and everything. But whenever I find time, I love to sit down and read a good book. And I've read a few good books in my time, okay? And I want to suggest some books to y'all because if you're a reader like me, we can talk about it because I love these books that I'm going to share with you guys. And I don't know, I wouldn't consider myself a bookworm. I mean, I don't know what you would call me, but I love to read. That's that. And it's one of my favorite things to do in my free time. So I'm going to be giving you guys my book recommendations. And we'll go from there. So let's get right into it. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to my channel as always. And here we go. Okay, so I don't have like a book collection. That's another thing. I want to start trying to get a book collection. I don't know. That's just something I've been interested in. But I don't have these books here with me physically. So I'm going to show you the picture on my iPad of what like the book cover looks like so you know which book exactly I'm talking about, just in case there's another book out there with like another title, the same title or something. So just wanted to throw that out there. I don't have these books with me physically, but I will be showing you the pictures. So yes. Okay, so the first book I have to suggest is probably my favorite book I've ever read. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, this book made me laugh, it made me cry, it made me feel all the emotions in one. That book is The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed. This is what the cover looks like. Yes. Okay, so The Nowhere Girls is about a girl named Grace who moves to this small town in Oregon. And she moves into the house that used to belong to this girl named Lucy. And Lucy left town because something actually happened to her. And this is a content warning. There are some topics in this book that will make people uncomfortable and could trigger some people. So this is just your warning right now. I will be mentioning things like rape, sexual assault, subjects like that. So if that makes you uncomfortable and you don't want to hear any of that, just skip ahead and skip this part. Lucy used to live in this house that Grace now lives in, and Lucy left because she was actually raped by a few boys at her school. And the town just really treated her bad after it. They didn't believe her. They just started talking bad about her. They did these horrible things to her. So her family decided that it was time for them to move on and move out of the town and just basically start over. So Grace moves in to Lucy's house. And Grace starts to find like these little writings on the wall that say like, help me, like, I don't want to be here, things like that. Kind of just creepy, scary stuff. And so Grace becomes curious to find out who lived in this house before her. And that's when she meets Rosina. So Rosina kind of explains to her barely about who Lucy was and why she left. And so once Grace kind of finds out about Lucy, she kind of wants to do something about it. And then so Grace eventually meets Aaron, who is Rosina's best friend. And so Grace wants to start this club with a bunch of girls at their school, kind of fight this rapist, sexist, disgusting culture at their school. So they start this club and they end up calling themselves the Nowhere Girls. That's basically what the book is about. They're fighting for what they believe in and what they think is right. And they are fighting to change things at their school. They really want things to change. They want it to be a different environment for everybody. So the girls, the Nowhere Girls, they come through and they make a statement that they're not going to take it anymore, that this is disgusting and it needs to change. And that is just one of the sole reasons why I absolutely love this book. And another reason why is because it switches point of views from Grace, Rosina, and Aaron, the three main characters. But the three of them all have something else going on in their lives. So there's other problems on top of, you know, the actual Nowhere Girls Club. So this book, it really changed my life. Like, I'm not kidding. The message that it portrays is just such a beautiful and great message. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Like, I've reread this book, I think 3 times. That's how much I love this book. It's so good. The message behind it is powerful. It made me cry. Like, it's such a good book. So I recommend that you guys read this. I read this book, I think my senior year of high school. So a couple of years ago. So I would recommend it to read if you're in high school or older, just because the content that it does have. It does talk about serious things, but serious things that need to be talked about. And I think that it's so awesome that Amy Reed, the author of this book, does that. So I love this book so much. You guys should definitely read it. If you want a good laugh, if you want a good cry, this is your book right here. I read it pretty fast too. I think I read it in like a week, which may not seem fast to some people, but that's pretty fast. So The Nowhere Girls, you guys should read it. So good. Love it so much. Favorite book ever. Okay, so the next book that I want to recommend to you guys is also one of my favorite books that I've read. It is, you guys probably have heard of this or read it. One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus, I think. Yeah, Karen McManus. Oh my God. First of all, okay, I think this book is described as The Breakfast Club meets Pretty Little Liars, and that's like the perfect way to describe this book, okay? Like, it is so good. So basically, One of Us is Lying is about 5 people that go into detention all for the same thing. But one person from that group does not come out of detention alive. One of them dies in detention. And the person that dies, I'm just gonna say it because I'm pretty sure it says it on the back of the book, is Simon. Simon is the one that dies. So it turns into this whole murder investigation because obviously if 5 of them go into detention and only 4 of them come out, somebody in that detention room killed Simon, so they think. So it turned into this whole murder investigation, and the 4 characters who are under trial, it switches point of views from the 4 main characters. And yeah, they're all 4 basically on trial. The police department is trying to figure out who in that room killed Simon, and they can't figure it out. Nobody's admitted anything. And if they do know something, people are hiding it. Like, they can't figure it out. So the 4 people that are under the investigation, they never really talked beforehand. Like, they like knew of each other, obviously, but they never talked or anything. They eventually all kind of become friends because if you're under a murder investigation together, obviously you're going to talk to each other. So they start to become friends, and they try and figure out themselves who did it, because they believe each other. They don't think that any of them did it. So they're kind of doing their own investigation, I guess, while the police department is. So it's such a good book. It's a pretty fast read. I'm pretty sure I read this book in like a couple of days. It just like left me on the edge of my seat. Like, I wanted to know who killed Simon. And when y'all find out, you might be shook, you might not. I was like kind of in the middle because like I kind of expected it, but I kind of didn't. I don't know, but it's a pretty good book. I give it an 8 out of 10. The only reason I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 is because I would have liked like the murderer to be more like, oh my God, I never expected that. Like, I kind of expected it, you know? So, but it's a really good book, good mystery, good murder mystery, I should say. And it just kind of leaves you guessing. So I think that they should turn this into a TV show. And actually, I think that they are. I'm pretty sure that they are. So that'll be exciting, but I hope they don't ruin it, because I don't know. I just get nervous when they make books into movies or books into TV shows. But hopefully, if this is actually going to be a TV show like I read, then it'll be good, because the book is really good. And I think it would be awesome as a TV show. I think it would do really, really well. So that is my recommendation for you guys. Read One of Us is Lying. Such a good book. I love it. Okay, the next book is a romance book. Oh my God, I think I've read this book twice now. I love this book so much. And I think this is actually a series. I haven't gotten to read, yeah, it's a series. I haven't read any of the other books in the series, but this book is so good and you should read it. So the next book is Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire. Okay, first of all, let me tell y'all something. The main guy in this book, the whole time I was just imagining Harry Styles, and I'll explain in a second, okay? I will explain in a second. So Abby is kind of just like this good girl, you know, she gets good grades, she's smart, like she doesn't really do anything bad. She's just your typical good girl, and she's in college, and she goes to this underground fight where she meets Travis. Okay, Travis is a boxer, he's a fighter, and they actually meet because Travis gets blood on her shirt. It's pretty funny. Anyways, but they meet, and basically they just kind of start this little, I guess you could say, love-hate relationship. And then things take a turn when they make a bet. And the bet is, I think the bet is, if Travis loses a fight, then he has to stay abstinent for a month, which means he can't sleep with anybody, because Travis is your typical bad boy. He sleeps with everyone, he's cute, like everybody wants to be with him. He sleeps with anybody, really. So if he loses a fight, then he has to stay abstinent for a month. He can't sleep with anybody for a whole month. But if he wins the fight, then Abby has to move into Travis's apartment and live with him for a whole month. And lo and behold, I'm guessing you can tell which way this is gonna go. They fall for each other. It's basically kind of like a match made in heaven. They didn't, like, opposites attract, basically. You have this bad boy who sleeps with everyone, and then you have Abby who doesn't sleep with anyone, who is this good girl who doesn't cuss, who doesn't do anything, you know? So, and they come together and they fall for each other. It's such a good book. I know that the plot may seem cliche, but reading it, it really wasn't cliche. Like, it was one of those romance novels where I was like, this is good. Like, this is a good plot that's kind of different. And I don't know, I just didn't think it was anything like your typical cliche romance movie where, you know, like maybe one of them is sick and they only have a certain amount of time together, or like, what's another cliche? I don't know. There's just so many cliche romance movies out there and romance books out there, and this is not one of them, in my opinion. I think that the plot is really good, and I just think it's a really good book overall. Now, let me tell you all the reason why I think the main guy, Travis, I think of Harry Styles, okay? Travis is described as like this lean, tall guy with tattoos, like he's a fighter, like. So the whole time I was just thinking of Harry, because like if this ever gets made into a movie, Harry should play Travis. Like, not that I think that Harry is like Travis in real life. I think as an actor, Harry would kill this role. Like, I can see it now. It would just do great. Oh my God, it would be such a great movie. So that's why I think of Harry when I read this book. I don't know. It just had me feeling some type of way, because, you know, Harry Styles, and y'all know I love Harry. But anyways, really good book. I give this one an 8 out of 10. I have read this twice now. Such a good book. And I read this in like 2 weeks. That's just because it was summer and I had other stuff to do. So you could probably read it really fast. So Beautiful Disaster, yes, read it now. So good. Okay, so this next book, I read it so fast. I read this book on vacation last summer. I brought it with me just because I thought, you know, like, okay, if I have free time, I'll read it. I read it in 2 days. Literally such a good book. So I think this one is also a series, but I'll explain that in a second. So the next book is Until Friday Night by Abby Glines. I don't know how you say her last name, but Until Friday Night, that's what the book's called, and this is what the cover looks like. So yeah, I think that this is a series. Like, this author has multiple series. I don't know, but this series is like, I don't remember what it's called, like the Field Party series, maybe that's what it's called. I think that's what it's called. But the book after this, I think, has different characters. So that's why I wasn't really interested in reading it. I was like, well, why wouldn't you just do it with the same characters? I don't know. Maybe if I read it, I'll let y'all know. But so Until Friday Night. So Maggie moves to, I think this is set in like Ohio? I don't know. It's set in some small town again. But Maggie moves in with her cousin, her aunt, and her uncle, because she was the witness of her father murdering her mother. Like, that itself is like, oh my God, like, that's crazy. Yeah, I know. She was the witness of her father murdering her mother, so she doesn't really have anybody else except her aunt, her uncle, and her cousin, so she goes to live with them. And ever since that night when she witnessed that, she stopped talking. She doesn't talk to anybody at all, just like herself, really. She writes, like, she'll write to people if they ask her a question or something, but that's it. She doesn't talk, like, physically. She doesn't use her voice. Her aunt makes her cousin basically just take her everywhere, because her aunt really wants to try and get Maggie to, I don't want to say make her talk, but just kind of make friends, I guess, however she can. So when Maggie goes to like this bonfire one night with her cousin, she meets West. And West is your typical football player, you know, every girl wants to be with him. He's cute, you know, he's just like the town hero, I guess, especially in a small town. If you're on the football team and you're amazing, you're the town hero, let's just be real. Anyways, so, but West is hiding something. He is hiding the fact that his father is slowly dying from cancer. And he doesn't want anybody to know, I guess, just because he doesn't want sympathy. He just doesn't want to really talk about it. He kind of just wants to keep it to himself. And he hasn't told anybody or talked to anybody about it until he meets Maggie. And when he meets Maggie, he's like, oh, you don't talk? Okay, well, I'm just going to tell you my whole life story because you're not going to say anything about it. Lo and behold, after Wes tells Maggie what's going on, she speaks for the first time in a really, really long time. And he is the only person that she will speak to. So basically, they fall in love and they have conversations with each other that they never thought that they would have in their life, especially Maggie, since, you know, this is her first time talking. And she opens up about what happened and what she witnessed, and they just both share their trauma and what they're going through in such a special and unique way, and nobody understands their love or their conversations except for them. This is such a good book, such a quick read. I give this a 9 out of 10. I think that it's just such a beautiful love story. I'm a sucker for a good love story, and I think that this one really did it for me. So you guys should definitely read Until Friday Night if you are a sucker for romance novels, because it's so good, so cute. It makes me feel so lonely, but it's fine. Okay, so the last book I have to recommend for you guys is probably another book that I think you guys have heard of, and I am like 99.9% sure they're making this into a movie. The final book is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Oh my god, you guys, I read this book, I think I read this in maybe freshman year of high school, so a while ago. So it's been a minute since I read this book, but it's just stuck with me ever since. Eleanor is the new girl in town. You know, she's kind of shy, quiet. She doesn't really talk to anybody. She doesn't have any friends because she's new. She's different, you know. And then she meets Park, who is also different and weird and kind of an outcast as well. And when they meet, they just fall in love and share so many special moments and stories together. My brain is kind of foggy on this one since it's been so long since I've read it, but this is another really good love story. It's not your cliche love story. I love the fact that it's such a different couple. I feel like when you see romance movies or read romance books, it's like your typical beautiful white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes and a beautiful white boy with curly brown hair and blue eyes or something like that, you know, like your typical stereotypical couple. But Eleanor and Park is different in the fact that Eleanor, I think, is actually plus sized. So, you know, showing different body shapes and sizes, I think that's so awesome. So I'm really excited for this movie, and I hope that they cast it well. I hope that they actually picked a plus size actress to represent this role, because it's a very important part of Eleanor's storyline. But I love this book, and I recommend this to anybody as well who loves a good romance novel, who makes me feel so soft and just fuzzy and warm. And so I give this book, since my brain is kind of foggy on it, I'm gonna give it like an 8 out of 10, I guess. I really can't remember very much of it, but it's a very cute love story about two outcasts who fall in love, and I think it's a love that everybody would want in their life, for sure. So I definitely recommend this book to you guys. Okay guys, so those are my book recommendations. I love to read. I'm gonna start reading more, and hopefully once I start reading more, I will have more book recommendations so I can make another video. But the book that I recommend the most out of all the ones I just talked about is The Nowhere Girls. Everybody should read that book. It's just oh my god, it's such a good book, and I want people to talk about it with, because it really changed my life. Like, I'm not kidding. It made me look at life and things at a whole nother perspective. So I love that book. But I love all the books that I just mentioned, and hopefully you guys go out and read these books, and if you do, let me know so we can talk about them. Okay, I think I'm gonna try and reread Eleanor and Park and maybe Beautiful Disaster again, just because it's been a little while since I read those books, so I can refresh my brain on it. But hopefully you guys liked this video, and hopefully you guys go out and actually read some of the books that I recommended, just because I don't know, I think that would be great. I think it would be so cool if people actually read a book that I recommended. I don't know. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!